Cryptic Media TV.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Cryptic, coming at you with another news story in relation to corrupt coppers and criminal police. So these two stories are from 2013 and 2015 respectively. So the article's entitled, "4 jailed for 21 years over breathtaking mortgage fraud." A former police officer has been jailed for 7 years at Mold Crown Court for leading the biggest mortgage fraud in North Wales, worth up to 24 million, with some reports saying up to 50 million. Antony Lowry-Huws, then 65, from Kimmel Bay near Reel, I hope that's how you pronounce it, was one of 5 convicted for duping lenders across North Wales. Developer Sheely Wally, then 67, from, I'm gonna butcher this one, from Llanfair Talheim, Welsh language is my Achilles heel, in the Conwy Valley, was jailed for 6 years. Judge Rhys Rowland says the fraud scale was breathtaking. The jail terms for the 4 totaled 21 years. The trial resulted from Operation Valgus, reportedly the largest mortgage fraud investigation in England and Wales in terms of the number of mortgages involved. North Wales Police said the inquiry took 5 years and the scam was the largest fraud ever to be investigated by the police force by a considerable margin in terms of value, complexity and substantiality. All 5 had denied conspiracy to defraud but were convicted following a 4-month trial that ended in June. Co-conspirator Frank Edward Darlington, then 62, from Barnoldswick in Lancashire, who acted as the surveyor in the transactions, was jailed for 4 years, as was solicitor Nicholas John Jones, then 54, from Mold. The 5th person, Susan Lowry-Huws, then 60, was given a 12-month prison sentence suspended for 2 years with 300 hours unpaid work for her role, said to be on the periphery of the scam and under the influence of her husband. Both Antony Lowry-Huws and Wally were disqualified from being company directors for 10 years. The jury had to consider 50,000 items of evidence relating to 189 mortgage applications made between May 2003 and June 2008. The prosecution said the deceit was achieved by inflating the actual value of the property used as security, hiding the fact that in some cases no deposit was put down, or in some cases the apartments on which mortgages were advanced simply did not exist. Judge Rowland said the sentences were based on the 6 million figure put forward by the defence, the difference between what lenders paid out and what they would have paid out if the applications were genuine. The prosecution put the value of the fraud between 15 million and 24 million. However, I did see in a different article up to 50 million. More than 1,000 mortgages are being investigated by Operation Valgus. Following sentencing, North Wales Police Deputy Chief Inspector Lestin Davies said, "We welcome the sentences imposed today in relation to this multi-million-pound investigation which took 5 years of painstaking investigation to reach a successful conclusion." Elspeth Pringle, specialist fraud prosecutor at the CPS, said the actions of the 5 members of the mortgage fraud ring were motivated by nothing more than greed, and their willingness to betray the trust of mortgage lenders for personal profit seemed to have no limits. Each of the co-conspirators sentenced today had their own specific role to play in this intricate crime, and were all fully aware of the deceitfulness of their actions. She also melodramatically added, "The scale, duration and sophistication of this fraudulent scheme are a demonstration of criminal behaviour at its most devious." Now personally, I disagree with this statement massively. I can think of many more things other than fraud that is a demonstration of criminal behaviour at its most devious. Who are the victims here? The banks. Who gives a shit? You know what I mean? The multi-billion-pound banks. Now don't get me wrong, I don't condone fraud, and I'm not saying it's okay what they did, but it's not criminal behaviour at its most devious, you know. Which is interesting because it's a perfect segue to the next lot of crimes that I found on this Antony Hughes. I totally did not expect to find this, yeah. I was researching his mortgage fraud case, and I was looking for a little bit of background information about the force he worked for, and I stumbled across this. So the article was from 2015, the headline stated, "Antony Lowry-Huws sentenced to a further 3 years after he was convicted of twice sexually assaulting a young girl 20 years ago. He indulged in sex acts with the girl when she was aged about 5 to 7. Fucking hell. Judge Nicholas Parry at Mold Crown Court ruled the 3-year sentence should be served consecutively to a 7-year sentence he was serving for the aforementioned mortgage fraud conviction. It was a press photograph of Hughes after his fraud conviction that led the victim going to the police and identifying him as the man who abused her when she was young. After the jury returned its verdict, it was revealed Hughes had a previous conviction in similar circumstances when he indecently assaulted a boy. Wow. Speaking of the girl, Judge Parry said there has been an element of grooming, buying her presents and complimenting her on her appearance, but the most significant aggregating feature was her very young age at the time. Hughes was ordered to register with the police as a sex offender for life. He denied indecently assaulting the girl in the early to mid-90s, saying he had never been to the girl's home. Hughes told the court in that period he suffered from depression, took medication and did not have any sexual thoughts. He did not know the complainant, her mother or her aunt, who had given evidence, and says he did not know them. They had got the wrong man, he said. Hughes suggested the girl was after compensation after all the publicity about Jimmy Savile travel and other sex offenders. He said that she would have believed from the publicity about the £22 million fraud that he was a wealthy man when in fact he was bankrupt. Huws said if he had his work records he could have proved he was not at the victim's house at the time of the alleged incident, but he said the police had lost them as part of the fraud inquiry. Typical. At the end of his evidence he named another man he believed could have been responsible. Miles Wilson, prosecuting, said while Huws had got the man's name wrong, he was referring to a defendant in a press cutting he had produced in court. The police had checked that matter out and found the person concerned could not have committed the offences. Mr. Wilson accused Huws of trying to distract the jury at the last moment. After the conviction, Philip Asbury, defending, said a lot of water had passed under the bridge since the offences occurred. Huws was in very poor health. He was on a considerable amount of medication, was already serving a long prison sentence, and the court should consider totality. After the case, DC Kate Ellis said, "This was a horrific crime. We are pleased with the 3-year sentence he has been given. North Wales Police will continue to support victims of such crimes and bring offenders to justice." So there you have it. A pig nonce. A bacon. I bet he's having a lovely time in prison, that guy. Juggins aplenty. What pisses me off though with this is, how did he even get into the police force if he had a conviction for assaulting a young boy? Indecently assaulting a young boy. I mean, that was confirmed before the mortgage fraud case, so that must have been on his file, right? I don't know, that's just... don't know what to say. I'm speechless, really. What I do think, though, is there needs to be some sort of upheaval to the entire police recruitment system, yeah, because it seems like a lot of deviant people, a lot of psychopathic, sociopathic people are getting into the police force. As I've been doing more of these police corruption, criminal copper videos, I've managed to shortlist many cases where the police have been sentenced for crimes, but an alarming percentage, and I mean so many, are sex crimes, and so many are child sex crimes. It's fucking unbelievable, the scope of this, you know? Before they even get into the force, they should be made to take many tests to vet them fully to see if they're a potential danger to the members of the public, you know? If they have any dark tendencies or intentions once they get into the force, they should be made to take lie detector tests. They should be psychologically evaluated or something, because these guys are given a lot of powers, and obviously these powers can be misused and abused, which they have been historically. It's right there for everyone to see. In fact, I'd be really interested in speaking to somebody or obtaining any kind of document pertaining to the police recruitment procedure, and I want to see exactly what happens during that procedure and what gets evaluated and what doesn't get evaluated. That'd be very interesting. If anyone can signpost me to any information about that, please contact me. That'd be much appreciated. So guys, that's about it for this one. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy the video, please like, share and subscribe to the channel. It'd be massively appreciated. Thank you to everyone who's already subscribed. Much love. I'm going to keep these coming, man. I'm going to try and build this channel up, guys. Try and raise some more awareness on police corruption and criminal coppers. Take care of yourselves, and I'll speak to you all soon.